Hi, my name is Pubby the Puppy, and I'm here with.
Oh, shoot. Hi, I'm Brayden. Yep, with Mikey.
Yep, Brayden plays Mikey, and I directed this shit show that had pretty good reviews. Uh, and today we are doing the commentary over Clipped. Just kind of answering questions, talking about how everything was filmed. So we hope you guys enjoy whatever mess this is. I'm gonna go ahead and start it. So the funniest thing about Clipped, right, is that there's subtitles throughout the entire film on screen, unoptional. They are on there. And that is because I put subtitles over it for the premiere and then did a final edit in the premiere version.
Oh, it just doesn't feel.
And forgot about the subtitles before I posted the film.
I'm fairly certain the subtitles. I mean, it might have been for specific parts. I think it's for specific parts before, but you put them there so that I could dub over them later because there were some just certain places I couldn't go.
Yeah,
due to
we did have
limitations.
Yeah, we did have you dub over some of the lines, and yeah, we had this version though of the subtitles specifically for release. Or specifically for the premiere, because I didn't know if we could turn them on or off in Popcorn Palace, and then I accidentally left them on the actual release of the film. So and here comes the longest opening credits scene ever to exist.
I don't know. I think Beetlejuice might be longer.
You right. Alice in Wonderland might be a second or two longer.
I have not seen that movie recently enough, so
Yeah, no, for sure. It's actually really funny because you'll notice that Dingaru's name, who pops up next, goes across the screen, right? And it's super quick that it happens, but it was an accident in editing, right? That I could not fix for the life of me. And I didn't want to go find this specific cut throughout all of our recordings to put in and just redo it. So I was like, hopefully no one will notice, but now I'm outing myself for it. So this was actually the first day of shooting is when we shot this scene. Which throughout this film we jumped between acts when we were filming.
Man, I have nothing to do with this. I don't.
Yeah, it was usually ish per day. Asterisk.
Yeah.
I think we got Act 1 done on the first day, but you guys went back and did a couple other retakes of it later.
Yeah, so all of the first person scenes were done in retakes. And we used snap turns so that we could hide any of the weird cuts a little better, because then it looks like, oh well, they left their snap turn on by accident. It was really a cop out, actually. Just a way to be like, okay, we've got a way to cover up any of the shitty mistakes we make, but some of them are still super obvious.
Oh, fuck.
So for the voiceover of Entity 1, I did all the voiceover for it. It's, you know, your basic vocal fry like they use in metal music. But there are actual words.
It was just like some stock sounds you found.
No, I did all of the recordings myself. There are actual words that were about what was going on and gave hints to the entity, and it's all reversed and further distorted than it already was. Here comes a weird cut. bam. Um, but there's actual words being said within all of that, and it was for a possible sequel that involved Entity One significantly more, but we are leaving clipped
Is
kind of where it
Going at
is.
the door.
Huh? What'd you say?
Yeah, and that whole running sequence was recorded by Pub and dubbed over by me later. Originally,
Yeah.
it was just but he decided later, I want to do it first person.
Yeah.
Get the fuck away from me!
But yeah, we did go back and decide to record this in first person because when we filmed Act 1 originally, I realized how hard it is going to be to incite any form of anxiety in this film. And I felt like it gave it just a slight more edge. I don't think this film really like makes people anxious or scares people, but I definitely think it makes people think. And that's because of the reviews. Like honestly, the script was wrote super quick, and like me and Brayden were in agreement. We were just like at the premiere, like 99% sure we were about to be shit on hardcore for clip. So when people said that they enjoyed it, we were both like, "Oh, really?"
Yeah, no, he was expecting bad input because the general thing of when you make something, you don't really you find things wrong with it because you're the one who made it, and you overthink those things sometimes. I thought people weren't going to like it because, I mean, I've never seen anyone do short films in VR, let alone VR chat. So I was like kind of apprehensive on what people would think about it off of that.
Need a little help.
And people liked it a lot more than we thought they would. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, no, for sure. There's been a few films done within VR chat. Like we're definitely not the first, but we definitely got really recognized for clip. Like there was more people watched it and more people recognized it and more people were curious about what was going on within it than than I think anyone who worked on clipped at all expected. Like because like for all of us this was a cheesy horror movie, and for everyone else they were like, oh my god, it's so deep. I was like, what do you mean it's about as deep as an inch of water? um but like I'm glad people found something within it that they enjoyed, um that we didn't see when we were making it.
And people on the internet will do what people on the internet will do and just try and find lore and everything.
Surprisingly enough, no one really actually got close to the actual lore for the film, but I think the most fun part was leaving it vague and letting people come up with their own conclusions, which when we started filming clipped, that was the intention behind all of it, was to create a world that makes people just like kind of be like, what the fuck's going on? And throughout this entire film, people are like, what the fuck is going on? So we really went into it with specific intentions and got exactly what we were hoping for. Now I will say, and we're not going to make these, but there is there was a story concept written for a second clipped and a third clipped, both also about the same length as this film, that kind of just like would answer everyone's questions, like towards the end, people are like, oh, why did Mikey get bang banged, you know? And oh, Vanessa ends up in the same world. All of those questions were going to be answered in a second and third one. As well as like, you know, confirming whether this is a brain's process of shutting down or an afterlife or what it is. And it was going to conclude Zachary's story completely.
Don't turn around.
Um,
Don't speak. You need to turn left.
this shot here is actually one of my favorites in the film.
But and do you think you'll be able to tell people like why that Mikey got shot? Why, like all the things that you're going to do in the sequels that were not?
I want to leave it open because we don't know what we're ever going to do in the future. Because who knows, it might be 3 years from now and we decide, you know what, we actually do want to sit down and make a second clipped. And if we do, then we have it open and it's not all been thrown out. But I don't know. That's a good question. I imagine if we don't decide to sit down and try and make another clip within a year and a half, 2 years, I'll probably be like, okay, guys, this is what happened. This is what's going on. This is what the second clip was supposed to be. This is what the third clip was supposed to be.
I feel like what you could do if you, to make it a bit more interesting than just coming out and saying something, like make it like like a scavenger hunt type thing for people to figure out if they actually really truly want to know.
Yeah, because it's that's the thing. It's all revealed within this film. Everything is revealed. There is no secrets. If you look hard enough, we hid in dialogue and in specific shots like what's actually going on. Like we took the time to do that. And I've talked to like Diesel Dog who did the second camera, and like Sodai who provided the music, and like these people who worked on this film. And you know, it's super funny to me because besides the actors and me, no one had any clue what this film was about. There were people who spent hours and hours working on this film that had no clue what it was about until it came out and they watched it. Because I don't know if you remember, we had Diesel Dog at the premiere with us, and he had no clue what was happening in specific times, and it was great.
Yeah, because he was only really there for the last last couple of days of us filming.
He was there for the first day of filming as well.
Oh yeah, man, he was.
Yeah, but the part that he was there for ended up getting cut.
Yeah.
Just because we had a really hard time producing a fear aspect.
Keep chasing me.
Something I don't think people noticed when they were watching this film is in the back, you can see Andromeda in the spider character right now. We just have it blurred as much as possible.
Your favorite movie? You've lived with me since
Well, she was down a hall, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's probably just one of the legs poking through the wall.
Yeah, that was the biggest issue I had with this film is this act specifically.
And you're my best friend.
Shit, it really is.
If this conversation wouldn't have been so dire to the overall plot of Clipped,
Is that thing?
Act 3 would have been cut completely because I think it's just like so hard to watch.
Hmm. Yeah, and that conversation, we had to, I think, move up the same hall several times to keep in front of the water because we were doing this on the Titanic
Yeah.
world, and with the ship actively sinking. And I'm pretty sure we had to change hallways a couple times as well to identical looking ones higher up so that the water wasn't there.
Yeah, for the beginning part before Mikey ends up finding Zachary, we were shooting in an already mostly sunk ship.
Jump.
Like this part where he's talking to
Are you fucking crazy?
Mikey,
I'm not jumping
like
in the fucking ocean.
this part was shot before we shot the beginning of that act. And this one you completely dubbed over, but I heard from people that the mannequins was the part that creeped them out the most within this film, which
Yeah,
was
'cause, I mean, they are just kind of teleporting around. They're all, the weeping angel type things, which always, skeeve people out.
yeah. I think our biggest downfall with Act 4 in this specific act is that we look back too much at the mannequins and keep Mikey too naive until later in this act. Because like it's obvious that the mannequin moved between when he got out of the water and when he turned around the first time. But this scene was not originally supposed to be filmed within this world. It was supposed to be filmed within a different world, and we ended up just deciding to go with this world last minute because we were already preparing to film for this, and we just couldn't film in the world we wanted to film in. Which really sucks because this world's actually Quest compatible, so we could have had you there. But it was like
Oh my
you were
God.
like busy at work or something, so we could have had you at this one. Which
It was okay. So we were recording this while I was still in school. So
Mhm.
yeah, it must have been on a day that or at a time where I was at school.
Yeah, like you were
Oof.
either at school or at work. It was one or the other. I can't
Oh, it
remember.
wouldn't have been work. I didn't start because I do a summer job. It didn't start until like June.
Okay. Yeah, so you had to have been at like school when we filmed this part. But it kind of sucks because it ended up being a Quest compatible film world we filmed in, and we just had to like completely improvise the scene because the scene just the scene we wanted to film just in the world we wanted to film it in just would not work. Um like there was so much wrong with that world that we just couldn't film in it. So I've definitely learned my lesson about what to look for in a world before writing it into a film.
Yeah. So I think for the fall, I can't remember if I recorded a scream for that, cause but either way, obviously never made it in. When he's underwater, I did like kind of like when you're underwater, you're holding your breath and you start to get the urge to breathe. You do like the I started doing that.
Yeah, that
Like
made it
and for
into the
these,
final cut.
no, it didn't.
No, the holding the breath underwater
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
But the scream, I think we ended up deciding to cut it. Um because I think like your family was going to bed or something when you were recording it, and like
Maybe.
it was like almost a scream, but it was like kind of a whisper scream, and I was just all like, I don't know if we can use that one, but I think it works better without the scream because obviously he saw the fucking hole when he was running up to it. You know, that's like hard to miss.
Yeah. And when he's the entire time he's underwater, I was actually holding my breath. um, like
Method acting.
I'd taken a deep breath in, and I was
Yeah.
not breathing for the entire time. So when he, because that how long that section, that little bit was, he was swimming towards the hole, I was running out of breath there.
Yeah.
You know, it worked. It's fine.
That you're dead.
If anyone here is dead, it's
Yeah, this one was interesting for me to do because this was also dubbed over. Pretty much everything after, actually everything after Act 3, I had to dub over.
Yeah.
And so,
Connoisseur.
like I usually work a lot better with people with like live stuff with people to bounce off of. So it was very interesting trying to figure out exactly the kind of emotion that I needed for this scene, and honestly, I think I could have done a lot better.
Yeah, I think clipped. So there's not a whole lot of VR movies out there, right?
It's come to terms
Like
before it stops having.
there's so little.
Couldn't.
I think we definitely learned a lot from this one, and like for instance, Can We Fix It, the full-length comedy film that's supposed to follow this one up.
Hole in
I feel like with what we learned from Clip,
there. Keeping it open for now.
going into Can We Fix It, is going to be like there's so much we learned that's gonna just
Well, I'd like to think so.
fuck, what's the words I'm thinking of?
I love you, buddy.
I think the progress will show, because I think a lot of the learning we did ended up being after we had already filmed scenes, and it was like within editing and dubbing and all of that.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of how making stuff goes, especially
Oh
if it's
yeah.
your first, like if it's your first time making something. The first thing is usually going to be the worst in terms of like just stuff. No matter how good you try and make it, because you just don't know things that you would know later on for other things. Like when I was watching the trailer for Can We Fix It, which at the time had a different name.
Yeah, no, we
was
scratched that name.
something.
Yeah.
But that trailer I was watching, and it the just the dialogue in the trailer compared to the dialogue in this felt to me a lot more natural.
Yeah, I'm definitely a way better comedy writer than a suspense writer for sure.
Yeah. Something that you were telling us the entire time. Like you made sure we did not forget that fact during
Yeah.
production.
But you need to calm down.
Although I do think the writing for this scene turned out really good for Act 5, the writing.
So help me God. I would have you.
I think some of the writing for the doctor was a little less human than I would have liked it to be.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
you also gotta keep them professional ish.
Yeah. I think
From if you're looking at it from the side of the doctor has to be professional, I think it works. I think it's fine.
yeah. And Punk Morty and Company, if any of y'all have heard of him, go give that guy a follow. He works so hard and he does so good in everything he does. He fixed up some of the lines like while we were doing it, because he would like look at me and he'd be like, "Hey, Pubby, can I change this word to this word because it sounds more professional? It sounds more like a doctor." Like he fixed up some of the writing within it, which is super good, and I super appreciate it. And him and Dingo Roo, they came in and filled in roles so we could make Act 5.
He could save a
because the original writing for this film ended after Mikey jumps in that hole. Like that was the original ending.
Fuck you.
Great.
And I feel like Act 5 gives it a much more fulfilling ending.
Guilty otherwise.
Please, I need to say goodbye. At least.
And because of them we were able to do it. So forever grateful to Punk and Dingo for helping us finish this film.
I hated you. So if he won't, I will. Vanessa, you are dead to me. And one day, I'm gonna piss on your grave. I love you, Mikey. And always will.
So I can't remember if you said this in a video or not. I remember you told some people with the car and Vanessa about to crash and all that. You said that it was possibly Zachary that cut her brake lines so that she would get into a crash.
Yeah,
Which I just
so
find super funny and like damn, like yeah, she unplugged his best friend and he probably still could have lived and gotten better, maybe, I don't know. But
so
like,
the
it's just
whole
so just
premise,
petty of him. It's just fucking
yeah, no, Zachary is a very petty, stubborn, uh, full of piss and vinegar, you know? Like that's the best way to describe him. So canonly in the story, what was going to link the first film and the second film is that Zachary cuts Vanessa's brakes, leading her getting into this car crash. And the whole second film, which I like, the chances of us making them is not very big. By the way, this shot peak, but and the pause button wrote this song for this film for the credits, and it's super cool of him. But the whole premise of the second film was gonna follow Allied Mastercom playing Zachary, and he dies, and he's in that first act we see, and the entity in the first world is like human and trying to get him to come to terms with the guilt of cutting Vanessa's brakes. So that moment where Zachary like looks at Mikey and says, I have nothing to do with this, like he has lied to the entity at that point, which is why he kills him. So canonly, like actual plot wise, Zachary dies in the beginning of this film, though he is still alive at the end of it, kind of showing that there's no like real way that time flows within this world. It kind of just does its own thing.
yeah. Well, also the Zach that we see in Act One, you could also just go with, it's everything that happens all in Mikey's head, ish, maybe afterlife stuff. So it would make sense for Zach, real Zach, to not be there and be completely unaffected from being, skewered through the stomach, because he's not there. It's not actually him. It's just whatever Mikey's brain made up, or afterlife, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah. So it is. So the actual story for Clip is it is completely like afterlife. Like canonly, in other films like that were being planned at the time of Clipped coming close to release, we were gonna have characters die and tease them ending up in the same place. So though within the first film we kind of create this this like image that that it's all within Mikey's head, but Zachary throughout act 3 and 4 is, or yeah, 3 and 4, 3 and 5, no, 3 and 4, yeah, 3 and 4, Zachary is entity 1 following Mikey throughout this experience, trying to like kind of just create almost like a guide for Mikey having been kept the truth from Zachary keeping the truth from Mikey. So in what was going to be the sequel, it was going to lead up to Zachary dying in that first scene, his soul moving on to whatever the hell's next. And then clip 3 was going to kind of follow Mikey and Vanessa. But to the best of our knowledge, those films are no longer happening. Though they would be cool to see just because it would be kind of cool to complete the story. Those films are no longer happening. We hope you all enjoyed the commentary, and we will see y'all around. All right, bye-bye.
Goodbye.